Today we're going to build a combination thrift store, boba shop, and cat cafe, and I realize that is a very long list and it sounds a little bit ridiculous, but here's the thing. In The Sims 4, they made the thrift and boba shops combined, so if you want to have one, you have to have the other. This new lot type came with high school years, and it is literally a thrift and bubble tea store. So I wanted to try and build one of those, but I also had this deep desire to make a cat cafe. In real life, cat cafes are often places where you can adopt cats. They're like fostering cats, and you can go there, buy some coffee, play with a cat, maybe adopt a cat. And you can kind of do that in The Sims because you can make cat-friendly spaces that cats are attracted to. So that's the goal. I want to make a thrift bubble tea cat cafe, which is a very long list for a very small lot. This is the default thrift store, which actually I think is really cute. So we're gonna kind of try to take some inspiration from this. This little downtown section of Copperdale is one of my favorite parts of like all of The Sims 4. I just think this little area is so cute, and I feel like we can make a really fun three-purpose lot. So let's get started. So I've got the lot bulldozed and we are ready to go. Before I get started building, I wanted to quickly thank Thredup for sponsoring today's video. If you didn't know, Thredup is an online thrift store, and can I just say, I have found the cutest things on their website. So the great thing about Thredup is that you can shop secondhand and help the environment by buying used clothing instead of new, but you can do it from the comfort of your own home. And because you're buying these clothes secondhand, you can also get really good prices. I got a little haul for you of some new clothes that I picked out. I only paid $10.50 for this shirt. I also got this Madewell shirt, which I really like the stripes on. I don't have anything that's vertical stripes like this. I got this little shirt too. I liked the neckline on it as well. I'm always thinking about like what the top half of shirts looks like because it's all you see in my videos. So I thought this part was kind of cute. This is embarrassing, but I got another striped shirt. This one's from J. Crew and it was only $14. And this one's pretty simple. It's just like a plain black tank top, but I needed another one and I only paid $6 for this. A fact that I just learned is that every time I wear something I bought secondhand, I save enough water to feed 194 plant babies. I think people underestimate the environmental impact that shopping secondhand can have. So Thredup is great. You're helping the planet, you're getting good prices, and you can use code Kayla to get an additional 40% off your first order. You can use my link down below to shop my picks and check out Thredup, and make sure you get your discount with code Kayla. And huge thank you again to Thredup for sponsoring today's video. You know what? Thredup is a very appropriate sponsor for this thrift store speed build, but would you believe me if I said that's not why I built it? I actually built this on my Twitch channel a couple weeks ago during one of my charity streams, and I just like randomly decided to build it with chat's input. We didn't even have a plan. We were kind of just gonna build something, and then this happened. I didn't even know if I was gonna want to post it on YouTube, but you know what? This worked out pretty well. So we're starting the speed build now, and you can kind of see that this main shape is mostly just a big box. It's always hard for me to build stuff like this and to do community lots like this because oftentimes the inspiration I'm going for is a part of a bigger building. Like in real life, this little boba shop might be tucked into just a part of one big long building that has 4 or 5 shops in it, but you can't really do that sort of attached building thing in this game. You can build it and then pretend, you can make a bunch of shops that are attached, but like gameplay wise, it's often better to have just one type of thing per lot because the Sims get less confused, which is why I often tend to build more standalone sort of things. I do think that it turned out pretty well though, so I used the greenhouse kit windows and doors underneath some really cute pink and purple awnings. The whole place is very pink and purple and teal. You'll see the color scheme kind of come together, and the building is kind of a simple shape, so you can sort of see what's going on already. I'm gonna have that big main downstairs part be the main cafe section where you buy your drinks. So there's gonna be tables in there and things like that. Over to the right is gonna be the cat section. It's all open, so in my head, the cats can just go anywhere and roam freely, but most of the cat stuff is over there. Upstairs is gonna be the thrift store section, so all of the clothes and changing rooms are up there. And then downstairs in the basement is the bathrooms. The place is quite small and the lot is quite small, so to have all those things I wanted, I needed to use a basement. And I gotta be honest with you in advance, I built this on one of the last days of my charity fundraiser, so I don't really know how efficient this build is. I did a huge month-long charity fundraiser in May, and so a lot of the builds that I did during that month were not like my fastest builds. They were kind of all over the place, and I was having some big problems on this day with my game being so laggy. I don't think you can tell here because it's sped up, but oh my gosh, my game was struggling on this day. Granted, I had just gotten finished playing the 100 baby challenge for like 5 hours straight, and so after that I started playing this, and I think my PC was just having a hard time, but my game was struggling. It is painful trying trying to play The Sims when it's lagging like that. You're like trying to place an item and it's so slow trying to drag it out of the build catalog. Oh, it's awful. The outside is pretty much done though, to be honest. I don't really do that much with the exterior here because there isn't a lot of space, and we're moving on to the inside now. And I must say, I had a really hard time at first with the floor plan because it was quite difficult trying to figure out where everything should go and like where the stairs should be and stuff. I had a lot of fun with the basement bathrooms. I don't usually bother with the bathrooms of my builds that much, but on this one, I tried a lot harder than normal. I was inspired from a few places for that. I had done a shell challenge recently, and one person made a cat cafe, and they had the bathrooms in the basement, but they had like a human bathroom and a cat bathroom, so there was like a separate section with litter boxes. Theirs was a lot bigger, so it looked a lot nicer, but I kind of tried to do the same thing where I had like litter boxes behind a little pet door and stuff in the basement. And one of my other friends has been big into like absolutely disgusting, grimy bathrooms recently. I don't know what is up with him, but he'll make like a bar and just have the absolute most filthy, disgusting bathroom you've ever seen. It's like covered in stains, there's like water piles everywhere, there's like cracks in the wall and spider webs. It's disgusting. I don't usually bother with my bathrooms too much. I kind of just don't really care, especially in community lots. I'm just not interested. Like sometimes in my house's bathrooms, I'll put more effort into decorating and putting like clutter and stuff, but in community lots, it's kind of just like there. So I don't usually bother making it too complicated, but I was feeling a little inspired, so I put some more detail into this bathroom, although it's not gross. There's nothing nasty in it, I promise. Not this time. The place is too cute to have like a filthy bathroom. I didn't really want to do that. So right now we're working on the cat section. I had talked about that room to the right kind of being the cat room, and so in there I put like some cat trees, there's some bowls, there's couches for you to sit on, even like some cat toys and stuff. In real life, and I should clarify, I've never actually been to a cat cafe, but from what I've heard and my understanding is oftentimes in real life, it'll be a cafe, like a regular cafe like this, and then there's gonna be some closed off rooms where the cats are. They won't have the cats just like free roaming around and stepping on the tables and the food spaces and stuff, because I don't think that's technically safe. But this is The Sims, so we don't need to worry about that, so the cats can just go anywhere. I didn't have it be closed off. I'm not worried about that. If the cats want to sit on the table, that's fine. This is their space, you know? I'm not here to judge. Would the health inspector like that? Probably not, but that's not my problem. The cats can go anywhere. And then upstairs is that little thrift space. So I'm kind of putting down some of the clothing racks and things. The whole thrifting feature is actually pretty cool because it's a real feature in game. So your Sims can actually come here and buy clothes and stuff. And I sort of like how there are separate spaces, like one is upstairs and the cafe part is downstairs, because it gives you a little bit more room to spread out. Honestly, I should apologize. I'm jumping around so much with this build. You can tell I'm like doing one part, doing another part, going back and forth. I was just excited. I had so many ideas and I was like all over the place trying to put them all in. I will say that I am absolutely obsessed with the color scheme in here. I had totally forgotten that high school years had some of those cute bubble tea counter items. There's some really nice community lot stuff from this pack, obviously, because it's got like a double community lot added to it, but it has like the actual counter where your Sims can order the drinks from, and then there's like some cute bar backs for it, and it's adorable. It's got like tea, it's got some coffee bags, there's like some little piles of fruit and stuff, and they come in really nice swatches, because usually that sort of thing just comes in like various shades of wood tones, maybe a white and black swatch, but this one has like some funky colors. There's like pinks and blues, there's pinks and purples, and so I tried to use those in here because the whole place was so pink and purple and teal and stuff. The Sims is definitely in like a pastel era right now. I feel like they've been adding so many more cute pastel options than we used to have. It's so interesting for me to look back on like the previous years of The Sims existing and how different stuff was at different points, because I feel like a lot of the new things we're getting are kind of in this color family. There's lots of pastels and things like this these days, but like when The Sims 4 first came out, they were in that weird bright era where everything was like hot pink, neon yellow. It was actually kind of terrible. The base game is still greatly suffering from that because all of those OG base game things are still those swatches, but I really appreciate the new era that we are entering. I feel like it's a lot cuter. So you might have noticed this little stage that I put in the corner of this room. Now, as far as the actual like gameplay of this place goes, you do need to have a microphone. That's one of the requirements because they host like fashion shows and poetry readings and stuff here. But I ended up putting one of the busking stations as well. I kind of liked the idea of maybe artists hosting like really small gigs in this store. Obviously that's pretend, so that wouldn't actually happen in game, but it's kind of a cute thought. I had a whole storyline for this place. I'm not kidding. Also, obviously pretend, because the game doesn't work like this, but I had fun thinking it up. So I called it the Thrifty Kitty, obviously it being a cat cafe and a thrift store. So the thought is this place is a cat shelter that helps take care of cats, and they're trying to adopt them out and stuff. And they have this thrift store upstairs, and my storyline is that people would donate their clothes here, and then they would sell them, and all of the profits would go towards taking care of the cats. And then of course they have the cafe part to like get people to come here and meet with the cats and maybe want to go home with them, you know? So that was kind of my little idea behind this place, which makes it make a little bit more sense. Because originally, you know, the thrift store, boba shop, cat cafe sounds a little extreme, but when you put it like that, there's a backstory, there's a reason, it all starts to make sense. Unfortunately, in game, it does not work like that at all. So functionally, this has the thrift and bubble tea shop lot type. So your Sims will come here, they'll like browse the racks, they'll buy drinks. I've noticed that the stores are kind of glitchy, like especially with the drinks. They buy a lot of tea and then just like leave it there. So I found when I actually play here and in the default one that comes with high school years, they just buy stuff and then don't drink it and then put it on the floor, and then there's just piles of trash everywhere. And that's not like a fault of the build. That's just a fault of the feature. The whole concept is a little bit buggy, but it is pretty, you know, popular. There's a lot of Sims that come here. It's never empty. And then I added a couple cat lot traits from Cats and Dogs. So there's a cat friendly and cat hangout lot trait. So that means that people will bring their cats here. Like you'll find, you know, other townies that have cats will show up with their cats. And there's also going to be stray cats hanging around. So technically in game, if you wanted to, you could like come here to meet stray cats and then maybe try to adopt one. I must say that usually when I want to do that, I just like shift click add to my household, which has burned me in the past. This one time I saw this really cute, what I thought was a stray dog named Greg. And I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with you, Greg. I want you. Well, I didn't want to have to bother going through the whole like befriending process to actually adopt the stray. So I just shift clicked and added Greg to my household. Well, it turns out Greg was actually not a stray dog. Greg, in fact, had a family, and I stole Greg from them. But that was fine. I didn't care. Well, cut to the next day, Greg goes into labor, and Greg has 2 puppies. Greg was pregnant the whole time, and I didn't even know. So yeah, I accidentally stole a pregnant dog, which was my bad. I didn't know. She was cute, so it was worth it. So yeah, I've learned my lesson about shift clicking and adding random pets to my Sims household. I stole a horse that way in The Sims 3 recently too, and that also was a horse that belonged to someone else. So that was my bad. In my defense, in The Sims 3, the horses just wander around freely. Constantly. I never see them at home. I never see any people with them. There's just horses everywhere. So how was I to know? What if I want the horse? But anyway, stealing horses is probably not the most appropriate brand safe conversation for this sponsored video. So moving on from that, I'm just finishing up some last minute decor here on the inside. I'm kind of going around and putting some hanging plants and like little details. I found this really cute cat sign I wanted to use. And you can tell that I have really been avoiding doing the outside. I like really did not want to deal with painting the outside because I had no idea what I wanted it to look like. So I left that for the absolute last thing to do. I tend to leave wall painting for last. It's just a habit that I have. I don't really know why. I just always do. I don't usually leave the exterior wall paint for last. Normally I do it first, but here we are. Wasting as much time as humanly possible with this one. So on the exterior, I put some little stuff like some machinery on the roof, kind of like you might find in real life, and then I put a gravel texture on the actual roof. But then for the rest of the building, I really struggled with what color to use because I kind of wanted to do a combination of some brick and maybe like some paneling or something. I found this really cute pink metal paneling. It actually came with Growing Together, so I wanted to use that on the outside. It looked adorable on the upstairs. And then I tried a bunch of different brick options. I was going between like a white brick. I found some like different colors of brick, but I saw this really cute painted blue brick, and the blue is almost a little bit purpley toned. It's definitely blue. Like it's not purple, but it's not as green toned as the inside brick was. So I thought it was kind of a cute way to tie the like pink, blue, and green colors all together. And I feel like in the end it looked really nice. We've got a pink tree, there's some purple flowers, flowers. I put some tables outside, and then I ended up putting a couple of like signs and also some extra clothing outside because I kind of liked the idea of having some clothes outside. Maybe they're having a sale or something, so they're trying to draw in some new customers. I feel like the original thrift store, the one that comes with the pack, has some clothing outside, so I was kind of channeling that. And then I also put in like a little food stand outside, and I also found this really cute table that sells like handmade, handcrafted items, so I put some little knitting things on there too. So overall, there's a lot of things that your Sims can buy. To be honest, this lot has a lot of things to do considering how small it is, because you can get some food, you can do the shopping, you can play with cats. I mean, there's a lot going on around here. Oh my goodness, and then I found this perfect sign for the front yard. It had this like little bunny pouring tea, and I felt like that was the most perfect thing to ever use for this. If it were a cat, it would be more perfect, but the bunny will do. And that is pretty much the entire build. Like, we're kind of just putting in some last minute details here. Again, it's really not huge. It's only a 20 by 15 lot, so there's not a ton of stuff to add, but I feel like it turned out really cute. I did a lot of detail things like changing lighting colors and stuff like that, so it feels really nice inside. If you want to play with it, I have it on my gallery. It's called the Thrifty Kitty if you're looking for it. And now that the build is pretty much done, I want to pop back into game and show you a tour of the finished product. I know it can be kind of hard to actually see what's going on when we're spinning around so much, and I cut out a few things, like the bathroom took me so long to do, so I cut it out. Just to remind you, we built it here on this lot where the original thrift store was in Copperdale, and this is the Thrifty Kitty on the gallery. Unfortunately, I used like 1,000,000 packs. I'm really sorry. I try to do a combination of like limited pack builds and also stuff like this where I use like every pack. This one, I went all out with the cat stuff, okay? So on the outside, the lighting is terrible on this lot. Oh my goodness. On the outside, we have this kind of like shopping section in the front. Did my sign disappear? That was really rude. Maybe I deleted it. Oh, I think I deleted it. Why? I liked it. Okay, well, I have this table. It's selling some snow globes and some like little knitted things. We have these outdoor seating areas. We've got this little like food truck out here and some cat paw prints that go into a little cat door. On the back, we've got a mural, a little back entrance, and also a dumpster. Listen, the dumpster comes in handy. Sometimes you need a woohoo spot. So we have that there. And then on the inside, there's not really a lot of space. We've only got 2 tables inside, but you can walk in this door right here. We've got a cat scratching post and that stage I was talking about. I'm kind of obsessed with this section, to be honest. I love the little pink hanging plants, and the lighting I feel like is really pretty. Over here, we have the actual counter where you buy your drinks, so there's a menu on the wall. And look at this. This like purple, pink, and blue-green is the exact color scheme I wanted. This is perfect for right here. I gave them some counters in the back, and then they have a little employee bathroom. Obviously anybody can use it, but in my head, it's an employee bathroom. I love these little star lights on the windows. We've got some more like advertisement signs and things. And then over to the right, we have the cat room. So they have that door they can come in. There's a couch for your Sims to sit on. There's some more hanging plants. I put up like some adoption posters and stuff, and there's also just some toys and other hangout spaces for them. The basement has the bathroom. So they're just kind of simple. We've got some toilet stalls and some sinks. I love this part. There's a little cat door into the litter box section, and they've got a cute cat wallpaper. This is from Snowy Escape, by the way. It's really adorable. There's a different version that has kind of like a nice mountain landscape, but I prefer the cats. And then upstairs, we've got the thrift store section. So I put some kind of cool purple and blue lighting up here. When you walk up the staircase, we've got a mural. I found these cool posters. I put like some different clothing racks everywhere. We have kind of the counter for this section and a little changing room right here. I put like some curtains over it. I just thought this turned out so nicely, so hopefully you like it too. I think on that note, we're probably done here. Huge thank you again to Thredup for sponsoring this video. You can use my link down below and code Kayla to get 40% off your first order. Thredup really is great, and there's so much cute stuff on there, so go check it out. Thank you again for watching, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow. Okay, bye everybody. I'm curious, have any of you in the comments been to a cat cafe in real life? We have some in Orlando, but I haven't actually been to one.